Hey guys, it's Justin from Simplified Investing. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. This is our weekly watch list video highlighting a few stocks we are watching as well as a key market breakdown. Hope you guys enjoy. So getting things started, for those of you who have watched our previous videos, the first thing I'm going to be doing is breaking down SPY. What have we seen from SPY within the last week, and then what we can expect to see within the coming week. Then I will go into the VIX a little bit, and then we will go in and we'll break down a few individual equity names. So getting things started, SPY looking pretty weak here, forming this bearish engulfing here on Thursday, follow through day here on Friday on increased volume, failing at this previous area around 437.60 on the hourly, now curling and turning over after this move here. Now, for a minor term trend, we are still in an uptrend off of this move here. I want to see a higher low being formed here off of this move. We cleared this prior pivot. We formed a net new high here, cleared this pivot, tempted to gap fill off of this move, and then now we're pulling back on some slight selling pressure. What I would really like to see is either a hold of this 429.50 or this key 426 area on the hourly chart for that overall upside. And again, the primary trend right now is going to be down. You see a high here, lower high, lower high, lower high, bearish engulfing on a day two follow through. So short-term weakness, but I do still think after this move here where we beat on CPI, I believe it was, and we rallied, that is really the base that I want to be watching here on this. For that pullback move, again, we could see 429.50, 426 area. Going out here to the weekly chart, you can see we have this double bottom trying to form this pivot. If we do break below this weekly pivot right here around that 420 area, this has some room to sell off down, I'd say, into like that 400 area. So keeping that on watch, still in a weekly lower high. So you can see lower high, lower high. Some weakness if we do even crack below this weekly low around that 427 area. But again, if we break this weekly pivot, looking very, very weak to the downside. Now, one thing I want to note, let's add in the 50 and the 100. All right, so coming in here on that 50 moving average, coming up, rejecting that right away. We come down here, hold the 200, failed trap below the 200 into a reclaim. Nice follow through that 200 EMA sitting right around that 426 area. Is going to be providing a lot of support this week for you guys to keep an eye on. So again, being said, those are the levels below. For upside strength, I want to see a break of 437.63, break this prior pivot before this lower high here, and then that move and push to the upside. As for the VIX, we're still trending in these same levels that I mentioned to you guys last week. That 2076 area where we rejected here into like this 18 area support. It's really just in this channel right here. Use these levels as key this week. 2076, then 1818, and 1731 below. Trying to form an uptrend structure here. Higher low, higher low. Let's see if we break 2076. And with the relationship of the VIX, typically when the VIX rises, the market sells off. So that is something to note. If we do get strength on the VIX over 2076, expect to see some selling pressure. One other thing I want to note is there's a lot of earnings this week or in the coming weeks. That typically brings volatility into the markets as well. So expect to see some of that in the NASDAQ, especially with, I believe, like Netflix has earnings this week. That being said, let's break down a few individual names. NVIDIA, watching the short on this one, a failed higher high here, 475 rejection into this bearish engulfing after this doji. I want to see any continuation below 450 into this 440 area. So watching the short, if we do crack 450 for that move down into like 439, a bit premature to enter short off of this, in my opinion. I want to see a day two follow through that I can get in and then risk that candle high for that short move through 450 into 440. But overall, starting to form a distribution pattern. You can see this markup, continued higher highs, higher highs. Now we're trading in the sideways distribution. Gap up here, that fails on volume. I do think we're starting to top out a little bit here on NVIDIA. And I personally will be watching this below 450 for the downside move on this. The second one is going to be a long side move. It's going to be CrowdStrike. Nice uptrend, steady higher highs, higher lows, continuation to the upside. Now we're trying to form like this pennant or this wedge formation, low volume pullback, which is just profit taking most of the time. It is good to see this low volume on this pullback. I'm going to be watching above or basing above Friday's high around that 189, let's say 190 area being the whole psych region. Above that, confirming this breakout here, continuation after this strength on 10.6. I don't think we have room up into this 193.80 area and then 195 and then 200 being a big psych region overhead. When we zoom out to the weekly chart, you can see lots of resistance around this 193.79 area. Cracks that again, room up into that 200 area above. But watching over that candle high here from Friday for that continuation move to the upside. Another one, I'll just break down a couple more. MRO, let's do this one. Gapping, clearing this prior pivot. Note it does have earnings here in a week or so. Nice move through this pivot around 27.58, testing this key 28 rejection area. I'm watching strength over this area, either a break and retest for this 29.51 area or just a strong breakout on volume on Monday for that continuation move to the upside. But liking this move, nice gap, nice push and close near the highs. Follow through over 28, going to keep this one on watch. Lastly, this is an interesting setup here. Netflix does in fact have earnings this week. That obviously plays a wrench into it. Technicals are not respected when you do have something that is going to be trading on earnings. Obviously the earnings and the changing fundamentals are way more important than technicals. But technicals speaking, we have a move in a lower high, some weakness here, nice rejection here on 10.3. Come up, nice bearish engulfing on 10.10. You can see how low a volume is on this bounce, weak bounce, stuff it lower. Now we're trying to form this doji, a prior price support. I'm watching a break below Friday's low around 352 to short this move down into 340. So with that being said, that wraps up our weekly watch list video. If you did enjoy this video, if you could please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you are ready to take your trading to the next level, feel free to check out Simplified-Investing.com today. We'd love to have you guys on board. Hope you guys are all having a great weekend and see you all on Monday.